I think outside of death, most people fear getting up and speaking in front of people. And I'm a speaker. I have no fear about that. My friend LaDonna Gatlin started performing when she came out of the womb. I really do think she sang a song called "I'm So Glad I'm Here."
Yes, and it was all about me. I said a lot.
A lot. She came out, and she's the baby sister to the Gatlin brothers, and she was singing with them from the time she was a youngster. And so she's a marvelous motivational, inspirational speaker. And I thought maybe we'd sit down kind of today and give our takes, yours and mine, on what people can do if they feel they have a story inside of them and they want to share it. Give me some advice that you would tell them.
Well, I guess it's the same thing that you would probably ask someone. Why do you want to speak? What do you have to say? Do you really have a story? Do you have a message? And I think it's just sharing your passion. What do you have to say to people that is going to make a difference in their lives, or perhaps help them, or maybe just entertain them? You know, there's all kinds of different speakers. I happen to be a motivational speaker, but I watched a lot of really great speakers like you and so many others.
You're also an inspirational speaker.
Absolutely. There's
and you're very funny. So, I mean...
Well, thank you.
All right, but here's the deal. It's not hard for you to get up in front of people because you've been doing it since you were a child,
right?
As I did. But somebody that sits there and says, I know I've got a story in me, but how do I overcome this fear? What I will tell them, number one, is understand that everybody you're getting up in front of is pulling for you.
Yes.
Because they all have the same fear you do.
Right.
So if you can just understand that they're on your side, and then you would say.
Well, and I never imagine my audience as naked. I never do that, okay?
Yes.
Just don't go there. It doesn't work. I've tried it. It doesn't work. I just tell a story. You know, consider yourself as if you're telling a story to a good friend, just like you and I are sitting here talking today. I mean, let's have a conversation. So there may be 100 people in the room, or 1,000 people in the room, or 12 people in the room. Tell them a story. Tell them
just
your
to
story.
One. Just to one.
Exactly. Have a conversation with them. And I invariably, after a performance or a speech, whether there's music involved or I'm just doing speaking or there's heavy content involved or whatever, it's always so interesting at the end of it to find several people in the audience, some of whom they come in, you know, in the back row, they had the newspaper, and they're like this, and it's like, okay, I find that one, I'm like, okay, that's the guy or the gal that I hope by the end of my talk that newspaper has come down and they've kind of leaned in like, maybe she has something to say. That doesn't throw me off. That's a challenge to me. That's the person I know when to reach.
Okay, but that comes from years and years and years and years of doing it.
It does.
I mean, you know, you've performed. They're eating shrimp cocktails.
Well,
while
that's
you're
true.
singing,
and
so
I will say
that's easy for you. But we're talking now about this person that doesn't know how to change their thinking about being up in front of people.
Well, just like you said, you make it about them. You make it about them. You have a conversation with them. And to overcome your nerves, everybody has a different way of doing that. I mean, people backstage go, or they breathe, or they exercise, or whatever. First of all, I would say, number one, know your material.
Know your material is the biggest thing.
Know your material.
And you don't read it.
No.
Don't write. Don't do that because you don't talk like you write.
Exactly.
So just talk like you're telling it to your neighbor.
It's a conversation, but know your material. And the way you know your material is repetition, repetition, repetition. It's the same way you get a six-pack. You do a lot of sit-ups. It's repetition.
Oh, I thought you were talking about beer. I thought, what does this have to
No, but you exercise it. And I will tell you, Susie, it was a different skill set for me. I came out of the womb knowing how to sing. When you're the baby sister of three guys that sing like Larry, Steve, and Rudy Gatlin, you know, in our family, you had to sing. You know, it was sing or you're out of here, okay? So I sang. But to stand up in front of an audience and need to learn how to speak, I joined the National Speakers Association, and I came in contact with people like you who were already veteran, seasoned professionals, and I watched what you did, and I learned from what you did, and then I developed my own
Do
style.
you believe that coaching can make you a better speaker?
Oh, unquestionably, absolutely.
But there's so many gimmicky things about coaching.
But there's a difference between coaching and gimmicks. I mean, any athlete can become a stronger athlete with the right coach, with someone that can make them stronger and take their strengths and make them even better. So, yes, I have great friends in the speaking business who are wonderful, certified coaches and have helped me with certain things I've done. In fact, took a little piece out of a speech that I give that made it so much better, which I was doing the speech and not even realizing that I was kind of running over a phrase there. And he said, you don't even really need that phrase, just take it out. And once I did, it became so much stronger.
So you had help along the way.
Sure.
And you have to, do you read any of your material?
I write my material out, and one of the best things that happened for me was writing the book. I co-wrote a book with a gentleman, and boy, now that I'm blogging, and I know you guys were talking about that a little while ago, it's really a discipline to sit down and have something to say and write it out.
I'm gonna, by the way, I want to tell you this, and then I'm going to tell you something else. By the way, her book, There's a Song in You, you can pick that up at bookstores or on Amazon and Kindle. And there's one final thing I want to say to you, and I think LaDonna will agree with this. You want to be who you are and be authentic.
Absolutely.
And the other thing is, if you have something to give, before you open your mouth, ask for guidance of your words and your heart, and then rest on it. Because speaking is a way to connect with people, and the best way you connect is not about talking about your successes, but your failures and your flaws, and then the audience can relate.
Absolutely.
We'll be right back with more Table Talk right after this.